you need to be extra careful when dealing with any kind of a time series data. The first thing which comes to my mind is spurious correlation. Now let's understand this. Whenever you have two time series which are heavily dependent on time, now what could that be? That could be something like stock market index, or it could be the number of goals scored by a footballer or number of runs scored by a cricket player. So when you have these kinds of time series data which are heavily dependent on time, which means they are going to increase if you take 5 years or 6 years time frame. So if you calculate the correlation coefficient amongst them, it will be highly positive. Now it does not mean that they are related in any way. It just means that time is the reason they are increasing, and that is the cause of their positive correlation. Now you cannot decide if they are related or not, because ultimately you don't have any kind of a causal connection between them. The stock market index and the number of runs scored by cricket player, I mean, they are very far away from any kind of a connection between them. Next thing is, if I say time series, there's a reason it is called series. It means that the order is very important. You cannot randomly shuffle the data and take out a fragment and do some kind of an analysis on it. The order is something which is pretty sacrosanct, and you have to take that very seriously. So if you are doing some kind of a training test or some kind of a cross validation, you have to understand this. You have to take it by considering the series. Next thing is, let's say you want to do some kind of time series forecasting. So you might be tempted to do the time series forecasting with limited data, with 1 year data or 2 year data. But understand that if you have to do any kind of a reasonable time series forecasting, you at least need 3 to 4 years of data, because if you take 3 to 4 years of data, you will have something called seasonality in your data, which you can observe. In 1 year data also you could have seasonality which you cannot observe, but if you have 3-4 years of data, you will have seasonality. We will talk more about seasonality in a different video. But let's say you have 5-6 years of data, 7-8 years of data, then again you have another problem. Then you also need to be very careful about the structural breaks which could happen. Now why the structural breaks could happen? Because when you have a longer period of time series, the underlying data generating process could change, and this is something which is well established in literature. You can Google up what is structural breaks and you'll understand it pretty clearly. We will talk about structural breaks in a different video. If you'd like to watch more videos on time series, don't forget to comment and ask your specific queries on time series data.